William Shakespeare is widely regarded as one of the greatest playwrights in history. He was born on April 26, 1564, in Stratford-upon-Avon, England. Shakespeare was the son of John Shakespeare, a successful glovemaker and alderman, and Mary Arden, a wealthy landowner's daughter. Shakespeare was educated at the local grammar school, where he learned Latin and Greek. He did not attend university, and it is not known how he spent the next several years of his life. In 1582, he married Anne Hathaway, who was 8 years his senior and pregnant at the time of their marriage. They had 3 children together. In the late 1580s, Shakespeare began working as an actor and writer in London. He became a shareholder in the Lord Chamberlain's Men, a popular theatre company, and wrote many of the company's plays. Some of his most famous works include Hamlet, Macbeth, Romeo and Juliet, and Othello. Shakespeare's plays were performed at the Globe Theatre, a circular open-air theatre in London that could hold up to 3,000 spectators. The plays were popular with both the common people and the aristocracy, and Shakespeare became very wealthy from his work. Shakespeare died on April 23, 1616, at the age of 52. He was buried in the chancel of Holy Trinity Church in Stratford-upon-Avon. His plays continued to be performed and enjoyed for centuries after his death, and his influence on the English language and literature has been profound. Although much of Shakespeare's life is shrouded in mystery, his works have made him one of the most celebrated figures in history. His plays explore themes of love, jealousy, ambition, betrayal, and revenge, and his characters are among the most memorable in literature. Shakespeare's language is also renowned for its beauty, complexity, and emotional power, and his influence on the English language cannot be overstated. Shakespeare is believed to have written 38 plays in total, as well as 154 sonnets and several other poems. His works were performed during his lifetime and were published in various forms after his death. His plays are divided into 3 categories: tragedies, comedies, and histories. Shakespeare's plays were not always well received by critics during his lifetime. Some saw them as vulgar and lacking in moral values. However, his popularity with the public grew over time, and by the 18th century, he was widely regarded as a literary genius. Shakespeare's influence on English literature and language has been immense. Many words and phrases that he coined or popularized are still in use today, such as "all's well that ends well," "break the ice," and "wild goose chase." Shakespeare is also credited with contributing significantly to the development of modern English grammar and syntax. Shakespeare's plays have been translated into virtually every language and have been performed around the world. They continue to be a staple of the theatre and are frequently adapted for film and television. Shakespeare's legacy has also been the subject of much debate and speculation. Some have suggested that he did not write all of the plays attributed to him, while others have pointed to evidence suggesting that he collaborated with other writers on some of his works. However, the vast majority of scholars and experts agree that Shakespeare was the primary author of the plays that bear his name. Shakespeare's life has been the subject of much fascination and inquiry. Despite the fact that relatively little is known about him, numerous biographies, films, and TV shows have been made about him over the years. Some have even suggested that he was a secret Catholic or a member of a secret society. However, most scholars agree that these claims are unfounded. Shakespeare's writing style is characterized by his use of blank verse, a form of unrhymed iambic pentameter. This style allowed him to create a natural, flowing rhythm that was well suited to the dramatic dialogue in his plays. Shakespeare's plays often drew on historical events and figures, as well as mythology and folklore. For example, Julius Caesar is based on the assassination of the Roman leader, while A Midsummer Night's Dream draws on ancient Greek myths. Despite the popularity of his works, Shakespeare was not always well respected in his lifetime. Some critics and intellectuals saw his plays as crude and lacking in sophistication. However, his popularity with the masses continued to grow, and his influence on English literature and culture has been profound. Shakespeare is believed to have been a member of the Lord Chamberlain's Men, which later became the King's Men. This was a highly prestigious theatre company that performed for the court of Queen Elizabeth I and later King James I. Shakespeare's birthplace in Stratford-upon-Avon has become a popular tourist destination, with visitors coming from all over the world to see the house where he was born, as well as the church where he was baptized and buried. Shakespeare's legacy extends beyond literature and theatre. His plays have been adapted into operas, ballets, and even video games. His influence can also be seen in other forms of popular culture, such as film and television. Shakespeare's works have been studied and analyzed by scholars and experts for centuries. His plays continue to be the subject of debate and interpretation, with new insights and discoveries being made all the time. Shakespeare's birth date is not known for certain, but it is traditionally celebrated on April 23, 1564. He was born in Stratford-upon-Avon, England, and was the third child of John and Mary Shakespeare. Shakespeare's family was relatively prosperous, and he received a good education at the local grammar school. However, he did not attend university. Shakespeare married Anne Hathaway in 1582, when he was 18 and she was 26. They had 3 children together, including a set of twins. Shakespeare spent much of his early career working in London as an actor and playwright, while Anne remained in Stratford with their children. Shakespeare's most famous works include Romeo and Juliet, Hamlet, Macbeth, and Othello. These plays continue to be performed and studied around the world and are considered some of the greatest works of literature in the English language. Shakespeare is often referred to as the Bard of Avon, in reference to his birthplace. He is also sometimes called England's national poet. Despite his fame and success, there is relatively little known about Shakespeare's personal life. Many details of his life remain shrouded in mystery, including the exact nature of his relationship with Anne Hathaway and the circumstances surrounding his death in 1616. Shakespeare's influence on literature and culture has been immense. His works have inspired countless writers and artists over the centuries and continue to be a rich source of inspiration and entertainment today. Shakespeare is believed to have written his plays over a period of about 20 years, from the mid-1590s to the early 1610s. During this time, he produced some of his most famous works, including Hamlet, Othello, and King Lear. Shakespeare's plays were performed in various locations throughout London, including the Globe Theatre and the Blackfriars Theatre. The Globe was a particularly important venue, and Shakespeare was one of its main shareholders. The theatre burned down in 1613 during a performance of Henry VIII, but was rebuilt the following year. Shakespeare's writing has had a profound influence on the English language. He coined many new words and phrases, such as eyeball, foul-mouthed, and swagger. He also introduced new meanings for existing words, such as fashionable, which originally meant suitable or appropriate, but came to mean stylish after Shakespeare used it in Troilus and Cressida. Shakespeare's sonnets, a collection of 154 poems, were first published in 1609. They are widely regarded as some of the finest love poetry in the English language. Despite his fame as a writer, Shakespeare was also a successful businessman. He invested in property, including land in Stratford-upon-Avon, and made a significant fortune from his work as a writer and shareholder in the Globe Theatre. Shakespeare's plays have been translated into every major language and have been performed in countries around the world. They continue to be popular today, and new productions and adaptations are constantly being created. Shakespeare's legacy has been the subject of much debate and interpretation. Some see his works as timeless expressions of the human experience, while others see them as products of their time that reflect the social and cultural norms of the Elizabethan era. Regardless of one's interpretation, Shakespeare remains one of the most celebrated and influential writers in history.